Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. A happy Halloween to everybody that celebrates. You better be celebrating. Get out there. Do your civic duty. Hand out some candy. I don't know. Anyways, it's a new week in Web3. We're happy to be sitting with you guys. We're going to have a fantastic hour-long episode here, fellas. Good to see everybody back and surviving the times here. Hopefully you were able to touch some grass. Biggie Poppins, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great, my friend. I got back from my trip. I'm settled in, back into the routine. Got my hike into It's fucking cold over here, like cold. Like I had to fucking cover up like a goddamn Eskimo. I don't know. It was a really rude awakening from coming back from the sun. Oh, I like that background, man. That was nice. It's got like the, psychedelic jellyfish thing on the side going. I like it.
I just made a unilateral decision there. Good to have you back, brother.
It's nice to be back.
All right, we are going to get the updates here from Biggie himself. But before that, GIF, you had a fantastic GM Web3. The only, I'll pull it up.
The one and only.
No, we don't want to promote those fools. Don't even. I don't even want people to see what they're up to. Just know. This is a massive win for the little guy in the space. Big win for the network. But it can't be overstated how big of a win this is for the little guy, in all Web3. There's a bunch of people that are bullies in this space. People with bigger followings, bigger platforms, whether they deserve it or earned it or not. A lot of people just have, big platforms that they can use to stomp on the community or, take advantage of that and exploit others in different ways. And I just have to say, as a group that tries our best to be good actors and just do our own thing and not fuck with other people. And, to have one of the juggernauts in the space, basically take a big old dump on us, try and steal our beloved morning show, GM Web 3, try and take the name after we'd already done 120 episodes. And then to see them give up and change their name again.
This is my favorite gift, Ed Rand.
These motherfuckers ain't going away. They're cockroaches.
Look, it's a big win for the network. It's a big win for all of us. Yeah. If you're part of the GM Web 3 morning show, part of the network, and you've been a believer, sticking by it, hanging out with us despite what people would try and do, congrats.
All right,
all of us.
Yeah, congrats to again. I think it cannot be understated. It is a big win for the network. I'm not sure what prompted the move, but I'm happy that we're finally the one and only GM Web 3. Guys,
they couldn't own it. Couldn't own it.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, man. And I think they found out that we are not going anywhere.
We just kept doing our thing, man. We just stayed true. Stayed true. The provenance went out. Great point.
Okay, yes, guys,
provenance.
You already know what it is. We are sharing out the episode, trying to get as many people in here early. We just pressed live on a Monday episode. Monday, October 30th. We are 1 day away from one of the coolest days. Now I'm going over the top. All right.
No, well, I need to know. Since it's one of the coolest days, what do you got in mind? What are you planning, Q?
My house has been decorated for the better part of 3 or 4 weeks.
He didn't even celebrate over the weekend. He did. Look, this Mr. Halloween over here.
You want me to get what we're handing out? I will.
I would love to see that, man.
All right. Yes. Well, GIF, you can go on that rant.
I have to just share. This is how I woke up to the news this morning. Is like literally I'm like groggy in bed, like wiping sleep out of my eyes, trying to, come to so I can roll out of bed and jump into the show. And the first thing that I see when I'm barely awake is two texts from Nifty Q, all caps, that just say, "Bro, call me as soon as you get this." So I'm just like, oh Jesus, what the heck blew up? What's wrong? What's
the world?
Oh no! So I call my man like as soon as I can, just like, oh God, what's up? And
just say it.
He's just like, they changed their name back, and it was great news. But yeah, literally trying to give me a fucking heart attack first thing on a Monday morning. Oh wow!
Oh
dude,
man.
This is half of it. This is the quality stuff, and then you got the little minis.
Jesus.
That's where the exit liquidity went. Jesus Christ.
What's that Addy where this is gonna be handed out? Man, Are you
And
gonna are you gonna open the door like that, like a butler with that tray, and just be
Oh
like,
no, bro! I get dressed up outside to try to scare everybody.
They have to have
outside,
ApeCoin though. They have to have ApeCoin.
Yeah,
At least
ApeCoin
one
only.
ApeCoin. They have to be in the ApeCoin DAO to get those rewards.
Dude, I mean, because you got to be careful with those kids, right? Like they'll try to like take half of that tray in like one go. What do you do to manage that? You know, the degen kids. You know, do you have somebody there with like the fly swatter, just hands off?
I'll tell you what, man. The kids, they don't listen. They like you tell them to take one big candy and they're taking 3 or something like that. So, all right. Anyways, folks, we have a full episode to get to today. We're not going to talk all things.
That's why you're
Halloween.
bigger than them. You can body slam them.
Yeah. Some of these kids are big, man. All right. Anyways, all right. We're going to get to the stories. I do have, let me get a run down the dashboard and then Gifted can hit you with the beautiful disclaimer. I do see a bunch of chatters here early. Again, we're going to be continuously sharing out while we get started here to try to get folks in. All right. I do have the biggest winners and big losers of the day. Terraform, which I don't really know much about the Terraforms collection, but they seem to have always, be on the top volatility piece there on Blur. But yeah, they're up 32%. Milady's is up 20%. Mocaverse up 20%. Crypto Dick Butts up 18%. Valhalla up 23%. Saints of LA down 15% again here on the big losers. Big, we got to get an update there. Ether Avatars are down 15%. Velocity Series, Renga, and Proof Collective down 5%. But if you look across the majority of the market right now when it comes to NFT floor prices, we are on the major up and up. So yeah, it's an exciting time. We got some stories to cover here in a second, but let's get any standouts there from what I just mentioned.
Dude, Terraform. Yeah, I was gonna ask you: is this Math Castles we're talking about, or
we're gonna find out?
Look into it.
I'm definitely curious to follow up on Saints and also Crypto Dig Butts just to see what's going on, because they had that like handoff situation going on that we covered, so that'll be interesting. We got some awesome commenters over here. Decrypto Lauren saying, "I'm sending kids to that house. Holy F." Yeah. Squashman saying onboarding kids one at a time. I was thinking you should put like some kind of QR code or call to action to try and get them into our digital experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So try and bring
next year IYK chips on every fucking piece of candy.
Yes, and you use the Pudgy Penguins funnel technique. You know what I'm saying? Get those kids onboarded.
That's what
ASAP.
it felt like when you said that.
Also, did Laszlo find us? Laszlo Bihari over here.
Oh,
is that the same Laszlo from the space? I think Laszlo found us.
Asking what is a degen?
Yeah, DP
Stick
saying
around and find out, my friend.
Choose the local neighborhood diabetes dealer. Yep, that's true. Also, Jeff Jag saying, should I get a gamer chair? You guys all have one. Yes. If you have to ask, you already know the answer. Having a gamer chair makes your analyses 25% more accurate. So we have to do it as a professional like necessity. Anyway, get a gaming chair. All right, this is the disclaimer. Handy dandy disclaimer. This is not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. Nothing we're talking about here is financial
Southern
advice.
accents.
Yeah. All this is just cool shit we found on the interwebs, and do your own research. Okay.
All right. This is actually a big piece. So I'm going to pull Gifted out of his fake country accent there. Gift, look at what's trending up here at the top. I know you guys can't really see it, but it looks like they have finally made integration for the Restream link up top.
Nobody can read that though.
No, it's so basically you see what color it is.
The yellow. Yeah, it's a different color for the video stream.
Yeah, and it's NFT Live. So NFT Live is now like, if you go on your mobile, you can see it there. Hi, X.
Oh, wow.
Hi, X, we're up here.
Go run it up. Yo, drop that link in the chat. We are live on X. We simulcast, and now we're actually getting more support from the app. Yo, it is a big day, Q. 2 big wins.
It's huge. Look,
GM Web3 and NFT Live up today, y'all.
Listen, this is a ridiculous start to this episode. I will say that, but we are having ourselves a nice day. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of recapping here as well as get into the news for the day. We did have Lana Moore in from Get Reach. Why do I always use people's Reach? The application is Reach. It is a social, I call it a socialify application, but it's really kind of a gamified social kind of promotion app. which is really cool. We can kind of get into that here in any updates that we have. But we had them on GM Web 3. We do have a slew of different guests that are going to be on this week. I want to make sure that I give them a shout out. We had a fantastic week as well last week. It was probably the biggest 5 to 7 days on the network when you take in all of the views that we got over the weekend.
Wow.
We had Machi Big Brother and a lot of apes in. So shrapnel in, parallel in.
Awesome.
Okay, so what we have locked down for the rest of the week is going to be Ape Comms is going to be on tomorrow. So SSP and those guys talking. So we have an update, by the way, on some different ape proposals around what we have gotten into with the special counsel. So I can get to that here in just a sec. We do have Jeff Jag will be joining us tomorrow. We also have Huda, who we talked to, who's an awesome creator. I could pull him up in just a moment. He is going to be coming on for his first ever attempt at being just a co-host, just kind of kind of one on the table. He's a good content creator. I'll pull him up, but yeah.
Well, Biggie's splitting time on us, so we gotta get fresh blood.
Just one day a week.
Biggie's blowing up. He's getting too big for us, fam.
All right, potentially Mark here at the end of the week, because we did have a Megapont drop that we're going to touch on as well. So we might have Mark here on NFT Live to end the week here, but we also potentially will get Gutter Cat. So it's all over the place. I need to get my handle just on the week here. It feels like a wild start, just kind of on the local news front, man. Okay, before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to everyone who is blowing up the comment section here. Biggie, I would also love if you could give a quick breakdown on how your Command A went, your first room ever, and who you were highlighting as well. I'd love to see that. But before we do, Jawa, Decryptolorian, Squash Man, who else? SP, it looks like we had Choina saying our vibe, our tribe. Happy morning to your Halloween. Just a bunch of different comments. Sad that we're already seeing -2 degrees here. Laszlo, good to see you. DP in the house here. Just a bunch of folks. So appreciate you guys showing up early. All right, Biggie, give me that update.
Yeah, it went well. All things considering, I think we had like 45 people show up, out of which 20 of them were bots. Very obvious bots. It's never happened to us on Web3. I don't know why on this one, but like it was very obvious. They all had like green dots and weird fucking names. So it's a good thing I just did not let any of these motherfuckers up, because I know they were just gonna talk shit. But it was great. Like, since right now Command A is basically just for the Proof and Moonbird community. Most of the people that were there, I knew like IRL or in person. I've met them before, and so it's a great conversation, and we got to celebrate the winning artist of that week, of that month, which I'll try to share here with you guys. I thought he did a really great job. The prompt for last month was private keys to happiness, and so this was it. This was the winner, Sember. Congratulations again! Shout out from the Web3 Familia and NFT Live. But he made this piece, which I think is phenomenal. If you can see, I really like that he made it flowing up as opposed to down, which is usually the Matrix style, right? Like it's a little more uplifting and happy. And he got to come on and talk about his process, and it's the first time he shares art with us, and so it was a great convo. And I look forward to this month, where we're going to be revealing the new prompt and going through actually the whole month process, right? Because there's different steps throughout the month, right? From revealing the prompt to submitting the artwork to then voting and then revealing the winning artist. And so it's going to be cool. It's going to be I get it to experiment a little bit and see what's working. And, if you're around and you guys have the time, please do come drop by. You're more than welcome, because this will eventually be opened up to other communities, not just the Proof community.
I'm excited to see Biggie Poppin's content creator arc. That's what I'm here for, because that's a whole ass journey, man.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like it's going well so far. Squashman reporting in that Google searches for Biggie Alpha Poppins are up 800%. Wow! So just get on
right after Bitcoin, right?
He's building.
All right, guys.
That's
Again,
hilarious.
we usually cover news a lot earlier on today's episode. We are apparently
We're
waiting
hungover.
till the 15-minute mark. Yeah,
It's Monday.
You know
It's
what?
Monday.
We're
Might as
hungover.
well just say
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I'm glad you came out and just told the truth there, because I was holding back. All right, J Dunk by proxy saying other 100,000 lands to drop at 8Fest. 0 chance, but floor could pump. That's going to be a major topic on today's episode. Other than it being almost Halloween, and I have a big ass tray of candy for all the kids. The other big story that's breaking this week is that 8Fest Hong Kong is happening now. So we are going to have a whole week of BAYC themed euphoria, FOMO for me, Gifted, and Big
And
E.
me.
Yeah,
Not an ape, but I'm gonna get FOMO. I know it. And people are gonna be posting all that delicious food.
it's going to be. I've actually seen shots from the not Google. Who's making the glass? Ray-Ban and Meta. I've actually seen shots of people wearing
Ray-Ban,
it,
yeah.
and the
Ray-Ban.
quality's fantastic. It's like basically an iPhone.
Really?
That's why they partnered with Ray-Ban, somebody who actually makes good glasses. Is smart on them. Shout out Marty McFly. We're happy to see you. Tilted, pissed, whatever you are, you're always
Yes, sir.
welcome here, my friend. You're getting some hugs and some love in the chat there from Choina. Love that.
All right, recapping Friday's news, because we don't have an NFT live episode on Friday, so things happened, of course, in the Web3 space, even though we're not live. Shocker, I know. But Ryder Rips, Yuga Labs, the final settlement came in. It looks like Ryder Rips and Poly Xerox are going to have to pay $1.5 million in damages, and we'll also have to transfer control of the Ryder Rips BAYC smart contract to Yuga. So to go along with the fact that 8Fest is this week, we have this huge ruling and this huge settlement here for Yuga Labs, and it's favoring them, of course.
The vibes are going to be high in Hong Kong.
Oh man,
Vibes are going to
hell
be
yeah,
epic.
dude. Hell yeah, man. I heard about that. I was so stoked to hear it. I can't tell you how much I despise people like these asshats, right? Like, it's so easy, right, to talk shit in this space, and for so long you just see that you can get away with it. Like, I really think like that's what these motherfuckers believe, that they would be able to just
for sure,
best, blow all in this fucking people's like project, and then if it didn't work out, no skin off their back, right? Wrong. And I love to see that, a little bit of retribution.
It's important. It's always difficult to look too far ahead and understand how certain moments will ripple out and affect everything. But you have to think that this is a really big win for the whole NFT space. And, we talk a lot about how important it is, whether or not you're into Yuga's collections or an ape or anything like that, for Yuga to be winning and setting good precedents for all of the space, just because there's not a lot of people that actually have the resources and the means and the ability to go to battle and like actually fight for good terms for NFTs in general. They are literally at the bleeding edge, fighting a lot of different legal battles for all of Web3. And so there's like the sentiment aspect of this, of just like knowing that like at the end of the day, at least in this one case, the trolls didn't win. I do think, in my opinion, and again, some people will disagree. I know that there's probably some Poly and Ryder fans out there that just think like all the bullshit that they were saying about Yuga is true and they're racist and blah, blah, blah. But in my opinion, there was a clear good and bad in this side. Like, one was trying to take advantage of the space, troll it to death, and just do whatever the fuck they wanted with zero accountability for being assholes. And one who's actually trying to start a legitimate business, build something with longevity and sustainability, create something bigger and valuable for a lot of people in the whole space, really. So to me, there really was like a good and bad in this. And to me, it feels like the good side really won out here in a situation where it didn't have to go that way. There was no precedent for this type of thing, because again, this is the first time that we're seeing somebody challenging the ability for distributed IP Web3 native brands to protect their copyrights and trademarks. This shit has never happened. So this could have gone the other way. And this to me is a massive win, cannot be overstated, that I think shows that there is longevity and viability for Web3 brands to be using different cool utilities like distributed IP to create value for communities and move forward, knowing that if there's malicious, bad actors, people that try and exploit that, you can do something. You can protect that under the existing infrastructure and laws for copyright and trademark. That's huge. I think it's huge. Big one.
We saw a message from Gordon Goner as well. So it's good to see Gordon continuously tweeting. Like, it wasn't just a one-off tweet that he had a couple weeks ago. The other part of this is that Yuga and Bored Ape in general have been on like this consistent downtrend when it comes to floor price, when it comes to sentiment. You could make the argument that those two things are tied in. Like, you're not going to see positive sentiment if the floor price continues to nuke. But we have a bump off floors here. So I think we bottomed at like 23 maybe, and we are now sitting at 31, 30-ish here for the floor price on the Bored Ape OG collection. Pretty much everything in the collection is popping off here. So you can see Mutant Ape Yacht Club is up there. As we go down in this list, you could probably see Kennels as well doing extremely well. Other deeds up 15%. So some of that is the broader space is just pumping, but we're getting at like a bottom on sentiment here or we've pumped off that bottom on the sentiment side, which is something super interesting to me because BAYC has been under fire from even the broader Web3 community. It really is. And it has been. So we're seeing,
and part of that has been because of the writer rips, all the allegations that they were making, the conspiracy theories, and there was a pushback to that too in Gordon's post where the judge literally was like, "Yo, these guys have been saying some wild out of pocket shit." So it was great even to just see the judge like saying these comments here. Unsuccessfully and inappropriately made disgraceful, slanderous statements about Yuga, calling them all kinds of things: criminals, racists, anti-Semites, bestiality, pedophilia, using cartoons as like all this type of shit. And the judge just basically slapped them in the face and said, like, get the fuck out of here.
So we obviously were talking with Machi as well last week, and there's some developments on the ApeCoin front. It just feels like the whole ecosystem, along with Ape Fest happening, you can get the idea around the energy. Biggie, what do you have?
Yeah, no, I think it's important to see pushback on this front. Just going back to, we always talk about this place being like the Wild West. And of course, that comes with different aspects of the territory, right? Like there's a lot of abuses going on. And I mean, just to see somebody like Yuga finally get some retribution from something that I do will agree with you is really damaging to the brand and to the space in general, because it does encourage more people to attempt this type of stuff. I mean, paralleling to this in a very different fashion is Saints of LA, which you guys brought up, and I'm happy to address it real quick. It's in that regard, like apparently there's some shenanigans going on with OpenSea, right? Like the founder has reached out and actually spoken to some people in the higher ups, and apparently they just do not want to address any of it, like zero conversation, in spite of the fact that like the scam collections are able to trade on OpenSea. So there's a Saints of LA scam connections.
What happened to that BlackRock NFT drop, OpenSea?
Exactly, man. But luckily for us, there's other, it's an open ecosystem, so you're able to trade in other places like Blur, and dude, Saints is doing great. Like they've just crossed 200 ETH in volume. They have the D gods and the whole Asian PFP community behind them, like just onboarding more and more people. And I don't know, I have a good feeling about it. So I've stuck around, and I don't know, I maybe call me weird, but I like rooting for underdogs in this particular case. But I think it's again a case of somebody very powerful abusing their power or their privilege, right? God knows how. But you do have, I think like he's already like, start speaking to lawyers and stuff like this. But until you start seeing stuff like what happened with Yuga, right? Like where there are retributions for these abuses, for overstepping, you're just going to continue to see that. It's unfortunate. We're still in the Wild West, but hey, at least you're starting to see some of these things come to light and settle. So I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Yuga. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, this is. I want to hop back into Bored Ape Yacht Club, but this is why I've fucked with Blur more so than I think a lot of other individuals, because why are we continuously going back to OpenSea? Why does OpenSea have the most shares when at every single like turn they have sided on the other, like against creators at every single turn? I can't name one time other than this fluff that they put out about creator studios and like just this marketing push basically is what it is, because their actions have shown the exact opposite. But Blur is like, no, this is pretty much decentralized. Like I would like to see the actions that they've taken when they've been put to task. I will give you that. But like, this is a great example. They didn't go after Saints of LA for this. It's an open marketplace. So there's arguments to be made on both sides. I definitely want to stay more in the positive here with BAYC as well. OpenSea gets me heated, man. But here,
VGF saying Q about to have an aneurysm. Shout out VGF, by the way. Great to have you with us.
Bored Ape Yacht Club. We've been a fan since way back when streetwear didn't take itself so seriously. We rummaged through the vault and twisted the classics. So this is a little bit of a teaser here for the BAPE collab that has been much emphasized here by Bored Ape Yacht Club. And then we also have a really cool tweet that came in from Bored Ape Yacht Club again. Really cool to see this not be confused with the gaming stuff that they've got going on, right? Like, this is what they intended for. All of this cultural stuff is happening from the BAYC profile. You can see it's 8Fest HK week, and it's time to get excited with the official 8Fest Hong Kong digital zine at 8fest.com. So we're going to jump into this with you. This looks really cool. We won't spend too much more time, but I'd love to like go through some of this as we go.
Also, would be remiss not to mention Jeff Jag, who's hanging out with us right now in the chat. Will be joining us tomorrow for Halloween. Said he'd get dressed up. Don't know what that means. Don't know what level or what kind of garb, but just know we do have special guest artist Jeff Jag, the artist and creator behind Nightmare Fuel.
Heck yeah!
On tomorrow to surprise us. This
is awesome. So we get a little look at all the scheduling. It's going to be tough for you guys to see it. I can't even.
Dude, this is going to be one of the dopest Web3 events ever.
I think it's going to be better than NYC 100%.
Oh, it's NYC. Yeah, they're putting so much into this. The vibes are going to be so high. It's going to be such a cool context. The first ever Hong Kong event like this. It was also really interesting on a relevant side note to get Machi's take on why he's not going. Apparently, like, he just stays out of China now because he's had bad business dealings and experiences. But that was interesting to get his take on why he won't be there.
There was some rumblings that we were going to get an other side trip around the Hong Kong 8Fest, and I don't think that's what we're going to get. We did get a tweet that was mentioning something about being able to access I want to make sure I'm getting it right. It wasn't the bathroom, it was the fridge. So I'll pull up that fridge post for y'all as well. But basically, apes are going to be able to send in their photo as well as some posts, and it's going to show up on the walls of the actual IRL events. So some cool stuff there. All right, any last things that we're missing here on the Yacht Club front? I do have the snapshot.org that I want to pull up because there is an AIP. We talked all last week about that special counsel stuff. It definitely did not get passed. I was fuming, of course, like you guys saw me rant on that. And we actually have another proposal put forth by the special counsel to take down their pricing and their salaries, as well as a couple others. The Bored Ape Gazette AIP to fund that for another year is up. So we got some cool ones that I'll show. But any last thoughts here on BAYC?
Well, Quantum Variant saying the BAPE merch is going to be dope AF. And I actually think that this will be probably the coolest or some of the coolest ape merch dropped. And it's going to be...
Isn't there like first one to drop like with a well, no, they did the Adidas drop, right? Also, so
they've done a couple things, but I don't think they've done a lot of big partnerships or collabs like this. Okay. And this is a big one. And this stuff actually looks really good. It's on brand. It looks really quality. I actually like. I thought they would do more with like the Bored Ape, Bathing Ape sort of integrated branding, and they did actually drop the Bathing Ape outline with the skull in the middle, and it says a Bored Ape in the BAPE writing. It actually looks fucking cool.
Oh wait, I got it.
Yeah, it actually looks really fucking cool. Yes,
admittedly, there was a low floor on this. With what they were. In my low floor, low ceiling. The first run of Ape merch was really, really bad. Like someone had a full snapshot of like all of the Ape Fest or like Ape clothing, and it's bad. Like I own all the stuff. Don't get me wrong. I could go upstairs and show you live, but seeing it in totality made me want to kind of like throw up a little bit in my mouth because it was just
Dude, Marty is just trolling us so hard right now, saying giving out banana shaped butt plugs, also saying remember when GIF was triggered every couple days by Blur. I was right. It created a negative feedback loop and nobody cared. So yeah, it was pretty triggering watching it happen in real time and nobody giving a shit. But anyway, yeah,
buyer should have supported those floors if there was a negative feedback loop.
All right, here we go.
So, all right, Ape Fest happening. We will be covering it all week. Excited to see all the videos. I'm sure there's some out there now, but we do have to get on here into the next couple topics that I want to get into. Biggie, we actually got in on this drop, or I did. I just ape into anything Biggie drops into.
I got a couple too, but I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure why, but I got a couple.
So the Megapont drop here happened. There's some really cool, interesting mechanics around this going back to Ordinals. So yeah, drop us the info.
Dude, I can't wait to have Mark come here and really like school us on it. But you know, I'm a big fan of Mark and the Megapont, the Ape team, and the art that they do. They keep it light, they keep it fun, and this is what that is supposed to be. Okay, so do you remember what Giv said? Do your own research, not financial advice. Having said that, I think this is really cool and novel. I have not seen it done anywhere else, where basically the mint is going to be happening on ETH, the NFT is going to be on ETH, but the metadata is going to be on Bitcoin. And then you're going to have a teleburn event where you as a holder will have the choice of either completely moving that NFT into Ordinals world, into the Bitcoin ecosystem, or keeping it as that hybrid, right? For me, the most interesting aspect here is this ability, right, to hold the metadata of these NFTs in the most robust and, you know, hack-proof chain in the world, which is Bitcoin. I can see a future where this other people can look to implement something like this. And of course, all of this is being enabled by the Apollo ecosystem developed by Mark and his team as well. But I mean, when you look at all the conversations that happen, right, about keeping the longevity of all these NFTs alive, right, and not relying on Web2 infrastructure to hold this information, right? Like, you look at what they're doing here and leveraging these two chains in a very friendly, non-animosity type of way. Like, I think is really cool. It's novel, and if it does take on, you have obviously that provenance bragging rights, right? Of this being the first project that does this. I don't think that they're looking to mint out by any means, and but I did pick up some as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I would say. Like, again, I'm not sure really why I bought them, other than you, Biggie, shouting it out, and because it is a cool experiment, you know, with the teleburn, that you just, the cross chainness of it. The art's kind of funny, it's kind of weird, and that's the one criticism or question mark around it to me is why they decided to go with 10K, because like you could have done 3K or 4K or something and probably sold it out a lot faster.
Can still do that, baby.
I know, but like, yeah, I just don't know why you had to do a 10K PFP right now. It's affordable. It's affordable though, you know.
It'll be a good question to ask Mark, right?
Yeah,
I think I like the idea of always, you know, especially with these connections. In the end, it's just like you had the chance, right? Like, you had the chance to mint. There were 10,000. They didn't mint out. They were very inexpensive. There's no excuses whether you got in or didn't. Bought on secondary, you know, it is what it is, and it's still open.
VGF, kind of how I feel too, saying I like it conceptually as an experiment. Don't get the unicorn thing though. I'm kind of with you. Jeff Jack says looks neat.
Okay, the pushback to the unicorn and what they look like, I guess, again, a GIF is not a big pixelated art type of guy, so I think that's where some of it comes from. But like, what is an ape? What is it? What is a cat? What is it like? It's a unicorn. Who gives a shit? Like, it could be any animal. So I don't. The pushback to the unicorn and the way it looks, it's like,
okay. Well,
yeah,
here's
anything.
to me the question then becomes like, yes, qualitatively, subjectively, it's open ended. Would you rock that as a PFP over a Bored Ape?
I'm not buying into it for the PFP aspect. Okay. I think the broader discussion is around whether I think Ordinals will be around long term. I think some people have written it off. I think for sure more so than it was back at the start of the year. And I think Ordinals is going to do well once the tooling comes online, and people are going to flock to this. Once it's super easy and it feels very easy, then it's going to pop off, because Bitcoin again is that big daddy chain. And even if it's on layer 2s or things like that, the narrative's strong. So that's what
people will be researching for these projects that have been earnestly building there, right? And sustainably. And I think Megapont is one of those projects, right? Like as to the unicorn, like you'd have to be in the Discord GIF to get it. But obviously it's 100% play on like the meme and what it means. It was birthed literally during the second wave of shitcoin season. So I don't know. I want to see what they look like. But Weasley is a very talented pixel artist, so I'm sure like there'll be some fun ones in there. So let's see what we got.
All right, we are going to move on here. We had another breaking story on Friday that I think has now an extra edition here. Lucrece did a sale here for. I need to make sure I'm getting the name correct.
Life of Mon is the collection.
Yeah, and then I think did 6529 have a collaboration here with Lucrece again? Because there's another piece here that might be part of 6529's meme collection.
That's dope.
I wouldn't be surprised. They are really dope, man. I'm angry that I missed the Life of Mon one. But yeah, talented artist.
Yeah, De Lucrece, awesome artist that we've been following on the network. So yeah, so he this is a Seize the Memes.
I feel like I hadn't heard about Lucrece in maybe 6 months, and then in the span of a week, he put out 2. It's wild.
And he's continually dropping different stuff. It's just like very limited editions. Some of this stuff is like required burns for his open editions, like a specific color or this or that. But his Discord is super active. I'm on it. Yeah. It's like one of the artists that I track closely. So. It's just it's a matter of like, do you like this particular piece, and if so, you hopefully you caught it early, because he drops it at odd hours, and it's very small supply sometimes. So either you get it or you lost out. But it's cool because he's very prolific, so he's always putting out cool stuff.
Yeah, and I'm loving the combo over here on the pixel art. It seems like a contentious topic right now. Some people think pixel art still has a lot of gas in the tank, and that we'll see more. Some people saying I'd prefer to see generative programmatic art. So you know what? Great combo.
All right.
There's space for both.
Yeah, there's space for both.
Last quick story that I had here, fellas, from Friday was the SuperRare announcement that XCOPY is going to be their November artist. Any thoughts on this piece? Are we picking up a SuperRare pass at any point?
No. It's too late now.
Dude,
I don't know if you want to speculate on getting an XCOPY and what that's going to be worth, right? Or I don't know if you sold your Matt Cain too early because you were angry at the AI low effort art. Then I don't know, but to pick one up now is you're literally just speculating on XCOPY, and I mean, people have done worse than speculate on XCOPY. But I mean, it's not going to be his last piece. I for a mint pass, I don't know. I wouldn't go for that.
All right.
80th floor, only only 250 of these. So it's on brand.
I mean, if you want exposure to XCOPY, like right now, there's great pieces going at rock bottom prices. I mean, that we've been seeing it all over, not just with XCOPY, with all collections in general. Right now is a great time to buy like high-end blue chip art.
I'm wondering
the volume.
So that was the last news from last week, folks. So we're finally caught up on that. I know we spent a lot of the time talking about Ape Fest and Bored Ape Yacht Club. Again, those prices are doing extremely well right now on those floors. Another one that I'll mention on the floor price here. I wonder what my entry point would be on Winds of Yawanao, because we've seen it be, again, super volatile here in the last month and a half. These things ran up to, I think, 14 ETH was the ceiling, maybe a little bit more. And now they're sitting around almost 6.5 ETH here for at the top bid. Man, if it gets down to like 4, I could see myself picking up a Winds of Yawanao, man. I doubt it gets there, but I think that would be like my entry point on some high end art.
I would always just say, like, make sure that you love the piece, right? Because sometimes you go in and you just want to buy a squiggle for owning a squiggle, and it's like that's cool, but also, like, get acquainted with the traits and what's available and what people are picking up. Not necessarily because you're looking to flip it, but just so that you really know the collection well and you know exactly what you're buying. I think that's important, especially with something like Winds of Yawanao that has so many different characteristics to it. But I agree. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it down to like 4 ETH, depending on market conditions. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe.
I mean, that is
you get your shot, Q.
Yeah, very sound advice there from Biggie Poppin'. So you can follow the good advice or do what Marty McFly is doing and totally ignore Biggie's advice and just go full tilt on trying to get some Opepen squiggles or Squig Pepins, whatever they're called. So yeah, good luck with that, Marty. We're rooting for you.
Snowfro Maxi, man, and I respect that. Like, dude, fucking Snowfro is definitely one of those artists where, I don't know, I wouldn't call you a DJ, Marty, for seeking to go in on Snowfro. That's a pretty smart bet.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about they were calling it Squig Pepins at first. Now we finally got the right I think name here by the artist themselves, Snowpepen. So we'll touch on Snowpepen here right now. I do want to briefly show off just really quick. We're talking about floor prices. NFT Stats had a great look here at the large cap PFP index. That's kind of the bounce that we're seeing across the board. Meme Land has some interesting things going on with it. Obviously, the fire sale happened. It was extremely successful. There's some, kind of Asian connections here in that opening up of that market. So there's a lot of momentum happening with Captainz right now that we can get into. I know some of you at home are farming it as well. But yeah, let's touch on Jack Butcher. Let's touch on Snowpepen. And give people an update on what's going on here,
dude. Snowfro, Jack Butcher, Khalil collab. I mean, what else is there to say? This is, I mean, yeah. If I wanted an Opepen, this is the one I'd want more than any other, more than the Penguin ones, more than whatever else has come before. Like, this is, I think. This is going to be a hard one to beat. I think, unless like a Winds of Yawanao or a Fidenza Pepin would come out, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the works as well.
This one there's unique characteristics to this one that make it. I don't want to say that this will ever be more valuable than the original Chromie Squiggles, because I don't necessarily think that's true. No,
people are actually debating that.
No, but I'm sure. But here's why it's unique and different, because it's Jack Butcher and Snowfro. It's an authentic Snowfro. It does look like the Squiggles and have a lot of those same unique traits.
It uses the algo.
But it uses the algo. That's fucking dope. But it also has it's an actual PFP. And, it's got that more like graphic PFP flex. And there's the whole story about how Opepen got to this point. You got into it for a different reason. Then you get into the raffle. And so it's like, it has that extra layer of engagement and gamification and like, story behind it too. That narrative of how you managed to get one. That, obviously a lot of people have that too with how they got their Squiggles. But I think that there's just unique characteristics of this that some people will value extremely highly. So yeah, I don't think it'll ever be as valuable as the original Squiggles per se, but I think that there's a lot of reasons why this is going to be a very, very valuable PFP now.
I wouldn't be surprised if like something like the hyper version of this, you could flip that. I won't be surprised if somebody flips that for the equivalent of a floor squiggle, like 10 ETH or what,
Yeah.
8 to 10 ETH. I wouldn't be surprised. Long term though, that is like the interesting question, right? Like I love seeing Snowfro imbue this squiggle algo and trait system into all these different iconographies, right? I would say the least one the one that I'm least enthused about, but I guess it was his like proof of concept, was the 9DCC launch with the shirts, right? um the sweaters I think are definitely on a completely different level, but this one and the velocity pass ones, right, like are really, I think, more in the art camp, where like he's taking like something like that's already known, and in velocity pass it's obviously the iconography for racing. Here it's obviously the OPEP developed by Jack Butcher, and imbuing it with like his squiggle artwork, right? And I'm just curious how far he's going to be able to take this, like in a good sense, right? Like because I mean I can see this applied to a lot of different iconography, right? And it will capture some value. But as an artist, I think you also have to be like a little bit mindful of like just how much like I guess like more selective about as you go down the line. And I think like this is the fourth time I would say he's done it, right? 9DCC, velocity pass, the sweaters, and now the Opepen, right? And I'm just like, like what's next? What are you going to choose to imbue? What iconography you're going to imbue with this art form of yours next? And how long are you going to continue to do it? Because I do think you can overdo it. And that's a little bit worrisome for me. Like, not because it's going to take away from squiggles, right? But just in general, like, I'd like him. I'd like to think that down the line he's going to be a little more selective about it, right?
Well, I agree that yes, you can saturate the market or hurt your
Like,
brand. Bad decision.
would you be down if he collabed with Nike and they did like on a Nike swoosh edition,
Maybe,
right?
but here's the
Like
thing.
it could be dope, but then
But Biggie,
you
when
know
you're
what I
talking
mean?
about Jack Butcher and Nike, you're literally talking about the upper echelon in their respective fields, right? So as long as he continues to collaborate selectively with like top tier brands or creators, I don't see you really hurting yourself too much. It's when you start to do the like desperate cheap shit and like knockoffs and all that type of stuff that I think you really start to hurt yourself here. But this is a pretty exclusive high end partnership, right? So I don't see this type of partnership hurting.
I'm gonna totally dox myself as an idiot here. I've just never, unless I'm, into and into that community via the buying the NFT, I have never understood the mechanic around the OPEPin. Like it's clear it's not like diluting any sort of supply, correct? You're not burning it in OPEPin to get this Snowpepen, right? You're holding on to that for a chance at potentially minting.
Yeah, it is kind of a burn mechanic. There's the sort of blank canvas original OPEPens that he's partnering with like 2,000 different artists. And I think each of those is a limited edition. I don't know how many of each one, like however many of these Snowpepens there's going to be some kind of limited edition, or I guess a raffle window where the people with those blank OPEPens get a chance to convert if they want to into that one. So it's a 1-to-1 trade. It's not deflationary or inflationary. But I think the original collection will stay around 16,000 at this point.
Okay,
it's just switching out the unique ones.
So once I switch out though, like once I switch my blank for a Snowpepen, I'm done.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think you now have established that that's going to be the final piece in the larger collection.
Marty got it just right. It's like a raffle ticket, and you keep using it until you win. And obviously, so if you minted a ton of OPEPens, then you've got a lot of tickets and a higher chance of getting in on these, right? But I mean, I've seen people be able to pick up a couple of other things on secondary, not too expensively. We just saw it with Velocity Pass, right? For example. And I think like there's something to be said, right, about like where you know, like this in particular is like, it's an NFT, which is I think will hold better value, like Gif was saying, because it's a collab with Jack Butcher. It's got, you know, and it's solely an NFT, whereas like the fashion stuff I think is still a little bit iffy. And I keep going back with 9DCC, which I'm a big fan of 9DCC, but like their shirts, like there's a couple of people that I've seen wear their like overwear their squiggle shirts to a point where they don't look nice anymore. You know, they don't look sexy anymore. It's like those things need to go into pajama mode now. Like, don't take them out the house.
Yeah.
You know,
that's how most of my NFT merch is looking that way right now.
God damn.
Where, for example, like a hat, I think makes a lot more sense, right? Like a hat just keeps better shape. I mean, assuming you don't abuse it too badly, right?
All right.
But we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I definitely like the generative fashion. You know, I'm a fan, so I want to see more experimentation on this.
Okay, next time we get everybody together, we're gonna do a Opepin ranking. I would love to see y'all's rankings between what he's done across the board. I just want to see that. So we will get into that. We do have to move on. We're about 10 to 15 minutes left in this episode, folks. Y'all have been amazing. We briefly touched almost our high there. So we had I think like 3 or 4 people over there on Twitch that were watching us. We have YouTube, obviously, that's popping off, and we just learned that we do have X now. We're officially live on X. It's being shown off to the world. So if you're watching us on X, nice to see you. Appreciate it. Guys, we do have, again, 15 more minutes, so I'm going to get into the next comment. Leave a like when you can. Share out the episode to try to get as many folks in here as possible. All right, I'm going to get into some quick news here on the social fry front. Social fry sounds pretty good though. We do have a update here from Stars Arena. As of today, Chill Pill has stepped down from his role as CEO. We will continue to take significant steps towards rebuilding trust with our community. Yeah, good luck with that. Total value locked is negative 41,000. Not sure how that's possible. I know that this is also tracking inflows and outflows, but outflows have been fairly significant, way more than 41,000. So I need to get this TVL data down correct. But yes, a immediate dump and run on the bank there over there at the Stars Arena app after this announcement. I did not get a good feel from this Chill Pill guy when I joined their room talking about the hack. And, you know, we hit on some things, we don't hit on others, but this was definitely one where I was like, I'm out. After
I think GIF needs to send them a free coffin and just call it a day.
Hey, dude, they got to get on the allow list to get any free coffins, my guy.
True that.
But I got to give you credit, Q, for doing the due diligence of hopping into their spaces to listen to the team and check it out, because you reported back that you were not impressed and that they sounded like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And I actually gave that a lot of credibility. I like your judgment of that, given that you have a lot of experience in the space. When you told me that, I was kind of like, oof, that kind of dampened some of my spirit and made me less inclined to put more of my time and energy there. And it seems like, yeah, maybe you were right. Maybe you got a pretty solid read on the situation. And I mean, look, they were already faltering. That's why you're in the room trying to listen to them. They're already kind of hitting a lot of snags. It didn't seem like they knew what they were doing. They relaunched again without even syncing up their data completely. So they like had another start and stop. So it does seem like they jumped onto the SocialFi friend tech momentum. They had a lot of potential because they did create something kind of cool, but they didn't actually know how to really execute against that momentum that they had. And they lost grip on the train, on the horse. You know, they lost it.
You see users that act this way in the ecosystem, right? Every cycle brings people that are just here to kind of capitalize on whatever that narrative is. You also see team members that do it, and that's what the feeling was, right? It was a team that was seeing what was happening with SocialFi over at Friend Tech. They probably had some good developers, and they were able to launch something that was kind of semi-interesting. That Friend Tech didn't give them that much competition on the feature front, so they were able to just say, "Hey, look." An open feature of being able to see other people posting. Wow. And yeah, they ran with it. Yeah, that's all I have to say there on Stars Arena. We will see what happens with this entire sector. Stats was also posting that this was a, kind of a all-time low-ish area that we were in for friend tech volume. I always love to give the personal anecdote piece. People that are there are still kind of, just active on the daily. The people that didn't get shaken out from that Friendtech dump disaster that we had, that bloody Monday or Tuesday that we had a couple weeks ago. So those people are still here. We're still kind of getting after it on that front, still farming the points, and kind of steady as she goes there from a volume standpoint. But we are at this point with Friendtech where we need to see something cool, right? Some type of feature that kind of drives interest, because right now I don't think it's sustainable. I think we'll kind of see a continuous like downward trend on the TVL if we're not seeing anything cool released on the app.
Yeah, fair assessment. And also Marty is saying, how about Man City whooping Man U is brutal, bro? Why you got to bring that up? That was a rough game.
Isn't that like every year for like the last 10 years or something?
It's not always that bad. It was a pretty bad showing from Man U.
All right. I do have a really cool post here. This was just breaking about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Excited to be showcasing more community artwork at our next event at Beeple Studios. Submit now. We'd love to exhibit your work. So I will drop that in the chat for those artists out there that would love to get potentially in this Charleston event.
That's close to your backyard, isn't it, Q?
It's pretty close. I wouldn't say it's the closest. Like the East Coast it's a little bit each realm of the country is a little bit hard to judge if you're not from there, right? Like people say, "Oh, you can go to Texas. You're from Houston. You can get to Dallas." Well, okay. Or El Paso, yeah, exactly.
I have to say,
10 hours.
I love the creative theme of Crypto Winter Wonderland. This is great. It's honestly probably gonna be an amazing party. Shout out Lift Action House saying, I always want fries. Fries are the best. Agreed. And we got Cam Taylor here. We need new owners. Glazers out. Agreed. When new owners, Man U.
So basically what we've created is a Man U riot in our chat. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, that can only end well. All right. I do have this last piece from me on the week. Again, I'm in the state right now. Gift said it, hungover, but trying to get my pause on the space after the weekend, right? It's kind of tough sometimes to catch up. So we had a fantastic kind of breakdown of what we thought were breaking news pieces. If you guys got anything in chat, definitely throw it at us as well. Meme Land's the other one, guys. So Meme Coin obviously launching on Binance Launch Pool drove that price up. There's also this piece with the flooring app, which is that the Captainz got listed to the flooring app last week. And then there was our first bank run. So we were all kind of questioning what happens when everyone wants to claim an NFT all at once and doesn't. Basically, they run out of NFTs for the amount of tokens that are existing. Well, we had that. And basically what for FLC, who owns the app, did, and I'll make sure to go in here, had our first bank run just now. We have a system that balances the number of NFTs in the vault and the number of NFTs in safe boxes. We call that our reserve ratio, basically the vault divided by the number of the total that they have. All right. Basically, TLDR, what they did here is they swept the floor on Captainz and added them back into the application. So they have their own kind of, I guess, treasury that they're able to sweep these different floors on. And that's essentially what we saw, which leads to a bunch of different questions. If the users all do this on every single collection, are we going to get FLC just sweeping up every collection whenever they run out of NFTs in the actual pool? That's what it leads me to believe. Then my mind goes down a rabbit hole of like, could FLC be involved in this bank run? And then they're sweeping the floor and creating this narrative. It's DeFi. It's a rabbit hole, but yeah.
Look, it's interesting. It's good to know, what the sort of contingency plan is. Also shows again why having big collections getting integrated into these types of protocols helps those collections, because now you have some kind of support even when shit kind of turns south on the protocol. You've got the protocol saying that we're going to be buying up those floors. So volume, it's almost like guaranteed volume on some of these collections in a way, which is really interesting. I'm still trying to figure it out. So Q, you and I are kind of overdue for a convo on it, because I started to look into it and I didn't pull any triggers or pull any levers just yet, because I want to use some of my Onis try and play with it. But I've gotten wrecked on DeFi so many times that if I don't like really understand what the fuck I'm doing, I'm very wary to get involved.
Yeah. So yeah, quick update here from the actual situation. We had 9 captains left in the vault, which means the reserve ratio protection was off. A guy probably unintentionally found out about this opportunity and got all of them out of the vault. So 0 NFTs. So people were holding on to you captain. Right? Yeah. And weren't able to take any NFTs back out. So they had none. Which let's see, he vaulted him and locked them in a safe box. The vault became empty, and that is a problem. We can't leave it like this, as it will result in the U token depegging with no NFTs to redeem. We did the quickest rescue, which was sweeping a bunch of captains and dropping them into the vault. So that's a TLDR.
Does that make you feel more safe, Q, to want to like drop your NFTs into the shit? Like, because it doesn't to me. That feels like
dude, all this shit is so far out.
Scrambled so hard the minute they saw that.
It's so far out on the risk spectrum, like it's crazy. Yeah, and shout out NFT Cutie saying GM, great to see you. And Squashman also just letting us know about an AdidasALTS Bugatti collab that I have pulled up. Whenever you're ready, Q, we can look at that too.
Did you guys see also like one of the guys, like one of these people in the, I need to find his tweet, but that basically like as a proof of concept or whatever, burned like a Bored Ape, a Pudgy, and like
we covered
like
that.
You covered that.
They burned a single token.
Yeah,
right?
they burned one of the U tokens.
Now you can't collect one, so it's basically burned forever. It's
Russian roulette, aka magical chairs.
I want to be playing with people like that.
Hot potato. It's hot potato.
Whatsoever. It's like no.
There is a cool.
Keep your NFTs in your wallet, people.
There is a cool aspect of this. I think
you're degen enough.
There's a little bit of a casino effect with dropping them into the standard pools, right? There's lock boxes or something like that offer, I think, some type of APY, and you don't put it at risk. But let me make sure I'm getting it real quick. There's a Russian roulette here of you drop your NFT into this and you receive the U tokens. If you instantly then put the U tokens back and there's probably some type of loss. Yes, who knows what you get. So it's kind of like you can trade in your ape, which is a funny mechanic here. But obviously the bigger news is how people are using these U tokens, how this is driving up the market. Because here's what you could do. I'm sure there's a DeFi application that's being built right now so that people can earn an APY on the U tokens that they get for putting their NFTs into this vault. And there will be some aspect of gamification on that.
NFT-fi.
Yeah. It's just
weird. And this is why we can't have nice things.
We're starting to see the rumblings of like the things that can go wrong, and they're clearly showing like, well, here's how we fix this, or here's how we fix this. But yeah, like we don't yet know how bad things can get on these types of things, and that's why it's high risk.
But see, to me, what's really annoying whenever I see these things, especially with NFT-fi, is that like the pretext is always like this is giving you an option to hedge, right, to protect against the downside, but nobody uses it for that. The minute these things come out, the first thing is how can I gamify it, and the second is how can I fucking abuse it. The last thing on most people's mind is hedging downside, and they're not knowledgeable on how to do it, and then they don't consider all the smart contract risk. And it's the reason why in this particular space, NFT-fi, I don't play. I'll read the posts and get informed that way, but I refuse to have skin in the game with that shit.
Yeah. I agree with both your takes here. When they have an outsized effect at the short-term future, because long-term, this, we get through the bumps and bruises, however big, like even Blur, for example, we're kind of coming out of that. But what he's saying here is I'm not going to shut down the system. This is FLC, by the way, to dodge this crisis. Instead, I will gradually add more captains so that the vault keeps running. So basically what's happening here is they have enough treasury. Look at this list, folks. I'm going to try to pull this up. Maybe I can do it on a different page here. Let me see if I can zoom in. They have 118 apes in this. They have 900 Azukis. 200 for only bad things can happen. Short term, this is why the narrative, again, make sure you're understanding this, that this could have all been added in the last month. Okay, month or two. And I'm being, I'm giving you some rope there. this is what's potentially driving prices up, is the amount of assets that are being purchased on the open market from flooring. You have 300 pudgy penguins. What unless they develop and have the right intentions for our space, which means we're going to sell these slowly over time, right? The idea of having 300 pudgies like that can be dumped instantaneously. You see where I'm going with this. So anyways, Big GIF, what do you got?
Well, the other thing that's interesting, I'm trying to find a headline on it, but I was reading on Milk Road today that, we're talking about like, why did NFTs see 5 days of like over 10 million sales volume, first time in over several months? We do think flooring is part of that, but apparently China, which has had a very negative stance against NFTs, yes, China, is also now through the Alibaba marketplace and Alibaba token, which I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know Alibaba had a blockchain. They are now starting to allow NFTs back on their platform again. So some people also speculating that China is starting to get a little bit more access to NFTs again.
I love this pic.
There you go. Partially, partially lifted the bans. So this is also just an interesting thing to throw in here. That I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I definitely think you're going to see Asia play a very big part in the NFT and DeFi ecosystem in this next bull run, unlike any other time that we've seen before. Like, you guys recall back in the day when they were, the what was it, the Korea or the kimchi arbitrage that SBF was notorious for, right? And all these other things. It's nothing, I think, compared to what you're going to see coming out of Asia in this next bull run. It's going to be massive. And I hope that it has a positive effect on this side of the pond and that it makes legislators pay attention, at least short term, long term, whatever. Just fucking do not continue to suffocate the innovation over here.
I generally don't really like buy into anything that I hear from the China news, like broader news segments. Like I remember back in the day, it was like China bans NFT or ICOs. Then, we have some China ICOs. Oh, by the way, Korea got raided. Oh, by the way, Korea has it back on. We're ready to roll. And some of that's manipulated. A lot of that's manipulated.
100%. Yes.
And so like, whenever I see any type of news like this, I'm like,
What? And we're so far outside of it, removed, that it's hard to know what's trustworthy or not. So it makes it very difficult, for us.
It's very true, and that's why I said Asia and not focused solely on China, right? Because you need to and that's one thing that people sometimes do not consider, just how massive that region of the world is, right? Because it's not just China, it's India and Indonesia. These are the largest centers of population.
Korea,
in the world.
Singapore,
Japan, Korea, and everything else. Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, you name it. And they are all very savvy.
Yes.
And they know how to play this game a lot better than us, right? And yes, but I think
100%.
rule number one, like what you said, Q, is China should not be your leading source of information. You should not be banking on that, But yeah, I am seeing definitely from Philippines, Indonesia, different other places, a lot larger communities being onboarded just now, right?
Yeah. And
LA being one of those prime examples.
Overall, that amount of GDP getting added to this whole ecosystem is dope, right? Like long term, it's going to be funny. I just, the personal anecdote of and you remember this, Biggie, you had to have a very large stomach to operate in 2016, even before because literally it would just be like news on Cointelegraph. Korea bank raided, or Korea ICO, Korea exchange, usually it was around an exchange, and fucking ETH would nuke 30%. Like, no shit, you would go to CoinGecko, whatever, and it would nuke 30%. You'd just have to sit on it. It was wild. All right, what do we got? What do we got here, GIF?
So this is apparently an AdidasALTS Bugatti collab announcement. Squashman, shout out to you. So I just want to play this real quick. It's only 8 seconds, but we're trailer maxis. All right, that's it.
The
That's all there is.
fastest shoe in the planet about to be revealed.
All right. I mean, that's it basically. Apparently there's more coming on the 1st here in just a couple of days. So I mean, Bugatti and AdidasALTS, that's pretty big. I mean, Bugatti is, talk about, you know, high-end brand partnerships. That's huge. Quantum Variant saying Andrew Tate loves this.
Yeah, of course he does.
I mean, you know what, to get an NFT, you know, Web3 native sort of project like AdidasALTS to be doing something with Bugatti is pretty cool. We'll see what it is. Probably shoes.
Shoes are having a major revival here in the Web3 space. Wild.
Yep.
All right, we are getting up out of here, folks. We will be back, of course, tomorrow. I do have this proof piece that I'm going to show off from Biggie Poppins before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Look, we have a pretty packed week. We're getting our horses together here on the scheduling front. So we potentially have Gutter Cats. We do have Jeff Jagging tomorrow. We have on GM Web 3, the one and only GM Web 3. We have Ape Comms coming in tomorrow on that to talk all of these new AIP proposals. So that's pretty cool. A couple other people that are coming in throughout the week. Let's see.
Shout out Lana Moore from Reach
Mark.
also for being an awesome guest. And yeah, Mark will be a great guest too. But Lana Moore this morning, if you want to check that out, came in the last like 30 or 40 minutes, and that's all recorded over there on X.
Love it, man. All right.
Yeah, you guys gave me a ton of FOMO, man. Like, I need my OG roll too. You guys are like way ahead of me.
I'm gonna have to pay
OG's up. OG's up. Let's go.
I'm gonna have to pay for it because I'm not gonna get to the 10,000 mark.
Wait, what?
Dude, you got 10 days
left. You were doing this shit longer than me, Q.
I turned it in for submissions. You know, it's just, you know.
Yeah, so I think you can use the points after you get to 10K and you don't lose the OG roll. So you should have just gone to 10K and then.
I know, but I wanted to hit it. You know what I'm talking about?
You got 10 days, man. I'm starting from 0, so we'll see if we can make it.
All right. One thing we did miss, folks, on the gaming front, Parallel. I'll drop the link here. That Planetfall pack sale went extremely well for the team. They also followed up with some announcements that holders were essentially going to get rewarded further. So that's good news. I mean, Parallel team has been amazing from the time that they've launched this stuff. So not surprised that they're returning some value to holders further. So big shout out there. All right, Biggie, this is the last story of the day. What do we got?
Man, I'm really pumped about this project. It already minted, but for all you generative art aficionados and appreciators, I highly encourage you to go to the proof page and read up on this. And there's some great content also posted on YouTube about it. You know, it's a little bit of like history and archaeology. Like a lot of people, you know, point to Joy Division's iconic album cover designed by Peter Saville as like one of the main inspirations for generative art. And basically Proof hired 3 different generative artists, Aaron Pennant, Jesse Woolston, and Luke Shannon, to do interpretations of this, right? Like of modern interpretations of like the data that you get from Neutron Star. And they're very beautiful collections, you know, like aside from all the heady stuff on how they designed it and approached this with like really cool quantum mathematical algorithms and stuff like that. It's an awesome conversation, and the pieces are just gorgeous. And, you know, it really gave me like a really new appreciation to what's going on right now, the revolution that we're going through with generative art. You know, it's, you know, as somebody that's not deeply involved in math or quantum physics, it was a very enjoyable read, and so I highly encourage you to check it out. I think it's a beautiful collection. You'll enjoy it. Yeah, these are like the first plot, and then that other one is Jesse Woolston's. I don't know how much it ended up going for, a pretty penny for sure. But the plots are gorgeous, and then Received Transmission is a 100-piece collection also that you can check out. I managed to snag one of those, and they're beautiful, man. They're really, really cool. And to think that it's all based on like the data that we received, right? Like when we're looking up at the stars is really, I don't know. It's really cool, whether you're looking or not. that transmission's coming in. It's really cool. I know Quantum, you probably already saw it, but yeah, you guys will get a kick out of it. It's really cool.
Vibes are real, man. So it's all vibes. We're all just vibes.
Wow. Fantastic
like
way to end the episode. Thank you. Gift, for that. Amazing.
The world is composed of vibes.
All right, guys, we're getting up out of here. Last thing, I promise, from the local news front, and then we will press end stream. Gifted, what's the update on coffins, man? What's the dealio here on the coffins drop?
Just put the nail on that coffin.
The allow list is open, but it will not be open too much longer. So make sure you get in on it. You get 2 free mints just for being on the allow list when it drops on November 13th. I'm working really hard. And also doing these fun collectible limited edition coffins posters. So speaking of vibes, there you go. That one is poster number 7. That one minted out as an addition of 5 pretty quickly. People liked that one. So I'm having fun with that over on 01. But no, make sure you get on the allow list before it closes, and I'll drop that link in the chat.
Love to see it. All right, folks, this has been an amazing episode. We will potentially, now we already have Jeff Jag coming in to talk about his drop, Nightmare Fuel, here on Halloween. He promised us that he's going to get dressed up. We might. We'll see. We'll see what we do. No promises. But Huda, who is an awesome creator, and we're done. I don't want to go back into X. I already shut down everything. But Huda is awesome. Huda.eth, I believe you can find him on X. He is going to be joining us tomorrow for the first time, hopefully on a long-running co-host kind of sit-in. So I'm excited to have him here. Give him a warm welcome tomorrow, guys. It would be awesome to have the community really rally around adding potentially a new creator into the ecosystem. So thank you guys so much. Big week last week as well. One of the best on the network. Could not be doing this stuff without you, so I appreciate it. All right, let's go around the box here. Send us out GIF after Biggie Poppins.
Family, it's great to be back, and it's good Monday, man. I got good feelings for this week, so I'll see you tomorrow. Keep it short. Love you. OVO.
Yeah, that's it, man. Our vibe, our tribe. Stoked to be back. Stoked to get hopefully a Huda on here.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's look at this guy.
Primo candy, man.
If I had kids, Q. That's where they'd be going, and they would take more than one, for sure.
All right, guys. Our vibe, our tribe.
What you don't know is that they're gonna have to reach into a glory hole to get them.
Bro,
okay.
what?